Hey there friends, and welcome to Laugh Napkin. My name is Frank, and today we'll be checking out the subreddit r/idontworkherelady. If you're new around here and enjoy these Reddit stories, be sure to subscribe for daily videos. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. And the first story is called, I Got Fired from a Hospital That I Don't Work For. So I just found out about this subreddit from someone who suggested I post my recent firing from a hospital I was admitted to. I had a rather crappy Memorial Day weekend. Long and rather boring story short, I had a seizure and face planted on my bedroom door. After a fun ride to the hospital on backboard and neck brace, a whole bunch of stress tests followed, and I was admitted because, as it turns out, my autoimmune condition is quite being managed as well as I thought it was. Fun times. After the first couple of days sleeping off the concussion and crappy medication side effects, I make it to the third day and feel well enough to walk around and even make a trip to the cafeteria downstairs to get something better than the standard hospital food. Now, I didn't really have much in the way of clothing. My wife bought my favorite hoodie and clean underthings, but forgot pants of all things. So a really nice nurse scrounged up a pair of hospital blue scrub pants for me. So I was happily free of the IV cart for the next few hours and decided to get some chocolate milk and maybe a tasty snack to treat myself and lift my spirits a bit. But it ended up being a rather sad, frustrating affair before I could even make it onto the elevator. I'm pretty slow walking, but I'm just content to not be confined to a bed or tangled in tubes, so I enjoy the sunlight and make friendly conversation with the day shift nurses as I pass by. Sometimes it's the small things that make me happy. But all that happiness goes away as I make it to the waiting area and elevator lobby, when a 60-year-old woman with the sourest expression on her face steps off the elevator. Like sucked in a whole barrel of lemons type of sour. Lips puckered up tighter than a cat's booty hole sour. So I try to give her a wide berth, but Pucker Face isn't having it. She marches straight up to me and gets well into my personal space and starts demanding that I take her to her son's room and give her an immediate rundown of his medical ailments. This exchange is as follows between me and Pucker Face. Pucker Face: finally, one of you lazy bastards is gonna take me to my son's hospital room and explain to me my baby boy's condition. I'm his mother after all, and that wife of his just hasn't been taking care of him like she should be. Me thinking the children's hospital is next door. I say, what? Oh, don't play stupid. You're not pretty enough for that. I know my son's here and I want to see him right this instant. His name is Poor Bastard, and I think he was brought in on Friday. Me, really confused and feeling bad for Poor Bastard. I don't work here. What do you mean you don't work here? You have on scrubs in a hospital. You're a nurse. Now take me to my son, jerk. Me starting to get irritated and sassy. Dude, I'm not a nurse. Not everyone who wears scrubs is a nurse. I just didn't feel like going to the cafeteria in a gown with my booty flapping in the wind. Puckerface waves her hands as if that's magically gonna make me not being a nurse change in any way. You're just using that as an excuse to not get in trouble for sucking at your job and being a little jerk. I hold up my wrists, including the lovely bright red allergy band. Yeah, no. I'm not a nurse. I'm a patient and I really don't have to be explaining this to you. Go find someone else who can help you, but you should probably not be such a jerk about it. Puckerface, inching so close I put my hands up to push her back out of the 4 remaining inches of personal space. I will act however I want, and you better believe I'm going to get your lying booty fired. I want to speak to your supervisor, such unprofessional behavior and talking back to a patient's family. Your bedside manner is atrocious. Me, pointing to the growing crowd. The head nurse is that way, and for the last time, I don't effing work here. I'm a damn patient, just like Poor Bastard, and being a jerk to people, especially nurses, is a good way to get thrown out on your booty by security, so you might want to tone it down. By this time, a couple nurses come over. All of them have clear name badges and credentials on display, as well as these little communication devices that are like Star Trek communicators but look and perform a lot less cool. The head nurse, who was so sweet, just like all the other ones I had during my stay, had taken on the scary resting jerk face that would make me think twice, but didn't even scare crazy pucker face. She barges right up to the nurse and demands to be taken to her son, spouting off his name and date of birth to basically everyone on the floor, and then demands that I be fired. Pucker face. Oh, and fired that jerk. She's completely incompetent and rude. Head nurse. Deadpans with a chill game I'm rather envious of. She doesn't work here, and I'm going to have to ask you to refrain from yelling and harassing people. This is a hospital, and people are trying to heal and rest. I understand, but this woman isn't letting me see my son, and he needs his mommy right now. She needs to be dealt with for being such a terrible, irresponsible nurse. But I'm not a nurse. Head nurse. Again, OP is not employed by a large Texas hospital in a major metropolitan area. After going back and forth for several minutes, Puckerface can't seem to wrap her brain around the fact that I don't actually work at the hospital. She's basically a broken record calling for me to get fired like she's forgotten why she's here in the first place. Head nurse is calm and has explained it as many different ways as she possibly can and is starting to rub her temples with what must be a nasty headache. Finally, after a couple of seconds of quiet, she turns to me. Head nurse. Hey, OP, you're fired, okay? Me. Okay? Head nurse holding an elevator for me. Go on now. Get on your way. I get on the elevator and head downstairs, incredibly grateful to be away from that monstrous woman, and go to collect my well-deserved prize and text my wife about the whole thing. She'll find it hilarious. But the story doesn't end there. As it turns out, when they look up information for her son, who turns out to be 2 rooms down from mine, he specifically said his mother is on the list of people who absolutely, under no circumstances, could be allowed to visit. So I watched her get dragged, kicking, screaming, and biting through the hospital's main lobby while I was returning from the cafeteria. The chocolate milk and cookies were twice as tasty after that. Poor bastard turned up that evening to apologize for his mother since news of the crazy lady spread across the floor like wildfire. He and his family were really cool. Looks like we're going to be physical therapy buddies now, and we can swap bat crap crazy mom stories together. Also, shout out to all the nurses out there. You are all the real MVPs for all the care you do and for putting up with people's crazy antics. Thanks. This next story is called, I am not scooping your sidewalk, lady. I live in condo-style apartments where maintenance does salt/plow the parking lot, but they do not scoop/salt sidewalks. They leave buckets with salt all around the complex from fall to spring, and it's up to the residents to manage the walkways. 2 of my neighbors are older folks with mobility issues, so for the last several years, I've swept and salted their walkways while I'm doing mine. Most people see me doing it and get the hint that it's on them to clear their path. That is until Special Lady saw me today. Special Lady and I don't know each other, other than generic hellos while in passing. She's lived here for about 2 years and should understand the way snow maintenance works here. Note: Special Lady is one of those Starbucks and yoga ladies. She is not disabled like my elderly neighbors, so her walkway is her problem in my mind. I had just finished scooping the walkways and was putting the lid back on the salt when I heard an ahem behind me. I looked at her and said my usual friendly hello. Special Lady, you missed a few apartments. Huh? My sidewalk? You didn't clean it off. You can't just pick and choose which ones get cleared. I pay rent here. I live there. I point to my door. I was just clearing mine and the older folks since they can't. So you're not doing mine then? It's up to the residents to clear their sidewalks, ma'am. Clear my sidewalk or I'll have your job. You also did an awful job in the parking lot. I almost slipped getting out of my car. Your boss wouldn't appreciate a lawsuit, would he? Me, cold and damp, and not in the mood. Look, lady, it's not my job to clear anything but my own sidewalk. If you slip, that's on you. Clear it yourself. I'm calling maintenance, and you're gonna be out of a job. And that's where I turned and walked back into my home. It's been an hour, it's still snowing, and hers is the only sidewalk still uncleared. Can't wait for her to finally relent and do the damn thing herself. And that brings us to the end of today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to give this video a like and comment down below. And I'll see you tomorrow.